Lori, oil and other hazardous materials are carried in these tanker cars known in the industry as DOT 111s. The federal government admits they've been problematic for more than 2 decades, but until now, there hasn't been a push to get them off the tracks. In a state known for its crossroads, Indiana also has more than 4,000 miles of train tracks that carry hazardous materials, some more dangerous than others.
Oh mon Dieu! Oh my God!
Thinner and more volatile than traditional crude oil, Bakken oil from North Dakota has been linked to a handful of fiery derailments. This deadly explosion in Quebec was blamed on a brake malfunction, but the tanker cars involved have since drawn as much criticism as the oil itself.
Quite simply, continued use of current regulatory specifications for these tank cars to ship flammable liquids poses an unacceptable public risk.
The federal government now requires that first responders be warned when the oil is transported through towns, something IT-Mate exposed wasn't happening in Indiana. But little has been done with regard to the tanker cars used to haul the oil. IT-Mate also uncovered these documents showing a series of hazardous materials incidents involving tank cars that might have tanked out. From Lafayette to LaPorte, Indianapolis to Avon, the hazardous materials varied but often involved tank cars with components that either failed or leaked, some happening as recently as August of this year.
The DOT 111s, those black tanker cars right there, have been criticized. The NTSB reported 25 years ago that they were problematic.
The NTSB safety report was published July 1st, 1991. It says the DOT 111 tank cars carry hazardous materials that can pose a substantial danger to life, property, and the environment. It goes on to say the 111s provide an inadequacy of protection that has been evident for many years. The tanker's walls are less than ½ inch thick and prone to puncture.
111As.
Yet years after that report was published, IT-Mate found DOT 111s all over the state. The concern over these crude hauling cars bubbled up this year during a House subcommittee meeting on rail safety.
Right now, there's so much uncertainty. People aren't going to make the investments in safer cars, and we're going to keep running these crummy 111s as they are and killing people. So the bottom line is, how quickly can you have a new design?
The companies, as you heard, are making investments.
At a CSX safety seminar in Indianapolis just a few weeks ago, instructors noted the shortcomings of the older cars.
All right, and we'll show you the other one does have some of that protection, but it's not like this. This is a much better designed apparatus to keep it in place.
Newer design tankers, known as 1232s, have been made to satisfy safety concerns, but not everyone is pleased.
But the NTSB is not convinced that these modifications offer sufficient improvements.
Now the feds want all older model tankers, like 111s, to be retrofitted with safety upgrades within 2 years.
CSX has endorsed the idea of higher standards for tank car construction for some time.
No matter what comes out of any proposed regulations in Washington, Norfolk Southern wants the safest possible tank cars to be moving on our network.
While the rail companies endorse the idea, they don't own the cars. Shippers do. And in this case, oil industry leaders have been somewhat hesitant. The American Petroleum Institute says the 2-year timetable is not feasible, adding that it could harm consumers and stifle North America's energy renaissance. And the Fed's proposed rule would remove all DOT 111s from the rails by the year 2020. They also want to increase the car's walls, add thermal coating, and enhance braking systems. The concern from the oil companies is that they'll bear the cost of these improvements and then pass them along to consumers like you and me. Bennett, Haeberle, 24-Hour News 8.